Good morning, everyone. It's a nice morning. No, it's overcast. It's been raining. The snap. It's kind of nice. It's kind of warm. It's not too bad with the temperature. It's gonna get really cold here, though. Might mess with my Christmas plans. It's okay. There's always a reason for things. Yes, and one just kind of switches things. Like, okay, well, safety is always more important. Making sure that everybody is not alone, this, that, in certain situations is more important than what we want. What do others need? What does a place need? Right? What do I need to do rather than what I want to do? Right? Or others want me to do. I had an early phone call this morning from a very good friend in town, and just found out that a couple here that's been married for a long, long time is adopting a baby, and it's happening right now. And I'm praying, and this everything goes well. This that, and the little one's just 11 days old, right? Yes. Oh, so excited for that couple. Hmm. Yes, the couple that did have the baby, that are the birth parents, are giving it up for adoption because they can't afford to have this child. Interesting. And again, we've seen that in the story with Joseph, right? On how the brothers were trying to get rid of him, and then on how God turned things around to make a greater blessing out of a crime committed by others. And and in a way, with this again, it's this is a great blessing for the adoptive parents and the child, isn't it? On how, okay, the birth parents says, well, we can't afford to have this child, so we're going to give it up for adoption. And on how God works to, in his mysterious ways, to just have this beautiful happening that we're here now, here in Leslie County. We have a couple that is becoming parents through taking in an abandoned child. It's our county is so blessed with wonderful people that God can work with, right? Yes. Yeah. People, they remember all the misery stuff, this and that. One can see it on the posts too, if you have Facebook or whatever, even on YouTube. All the misery is always has a big bells hanging on everything, this and that, right? Yes. And really, the blessings that people receive, even through hardship, this and that, and if they really pay attention, is not so desired, not acknowledged in a way. I'm not sure how that works, but I tried to explain something to someone yesterday. A very smart person, a very intelligent person, in my opinion. Can you? And suddenly I realized I'm getting the odd look, and then you're not getting this. Well, can you make this? Yeah, it's kind of complicated. I'm explaining this in the absolute simplest way that I know how. Yeah, and it's still too complicated. Well, yes, I think sometimes God feels the same way, where he's, look, aren't you getting what I'm trying to do here? Even if things don't quite go right in your life, or you're not always getting what you want, am I not always giving you what you need in any situation? Yes. Too complicated for people to understand the difference? I don't know. Well, let's get going here. I could talk all day long on stuff like that. Well, I just do. Can't chew gum for 5 minutes. My mouth hurts, but I can talk all day about this stuff. And be excited. Always. Always excited about these things. Always. Always excited. I guess. Well, anyway. We're in Exodus 2. can't believe we're in a different book. I'm still kind of, finished up Genesis. Whoa. It's a big book, you guys. Look at this. We still have to read all that. We don't have to do anything. We're doing it with a grateful heart. This, that. My worry is more, am I going to live this long? I don't know. Let's keep going. The early life of Moses, the birth of Moses. Exodus 2. Exodus. It's a great word. Exodus. I like that word. There was a man descended from Levi who had taken a woman of Levi as his wife. Oh? They're not mentioning the man name or the woman's name. Interesting. They don't really know. You see, you always know when the story is kind of, okay, we have to have the, every story has to have a beginning and then a middle and an ending, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. She conceived and gave birth to a son, and seeing what a fine child he was, she kept him hidden for 3 months. When she could hide him no longer, she got a papyrus basket for him, coating it with bitumen and pitch, so it won't sink or leak. She put the child inside and laid it among the reeds at the river's edge. His sister took up position some distance away to see what would happen to him. So this was still, if you remember from the first part of Exodus, on how that Pharaoh wanted all the Hebrew boys killed that were born. So that's... Now Pharaoh's daughter went down to bathe in the river, while her maids walked along the riverside. Among the reeds she noticed the basket, and she sent her maid to fetch it. She opened it and saw the child. The baby was crying. Feeling sorry for it, she said, "This is one of the little Hebrews." The child's sister then said to Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and find you a nurse among the Hebrew women to nurse the child for you?" Oh, so Moses's sister made herself known to the Pharaoh's daughter. Ooh, interesting. "Yes," said Pharaoh's daughter, and the girl went and called the child's own mother. Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this child away and nurse it for me. I shall pay you myself for doing so." So the woman took the child away and nursed it. When the child grew up, she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, who treated him like a son. She named him Moses because, she said, "I drew him out of the water." Oh, interesting. What did I just say in the beginning? Right? How does God work around evil in a way? Or, of course, that's evil. What that Pharaoh wanted to be done to those little baby boys is evil. Okay, that's and yet, what did God do in order to? Right? It's like, and so Moses's birth mom first had a daughter, right? Who then could be instrumental as well in the survival of Moses and Moses having time with his mother, right? Yeah, isn't that something? Okay, all right. I know, right? Don't overthink things. This, that. I just see the greatness of on how God just works with what there is, what is available, right? Even with the bad decision making and the absolute evil that people are capable of. Moses escapes to Midian. It happened one day when Moses was grown up that he went to see his kinsmen. While he was watching their forced labor, he also saw an Egyptian striking a Hebrew, one of his kinsmen. Looking this way and that and seeing no one in sight, he killed the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. Oh, okay. On the following day he came back, and there were two Hebrews fighting. He said to the man who was in the wrong, "What do you mean by hitting your kinsman? And who appointed you?" The man retorted, "To be prince over us and judge. Do you intend to kill me as you killed the Egyptian?" Oh, Moses was frightened. Okay, so here's Moses. Obviously, somehow, we don't know. I says there's many years in between now that he's been growing up. So he goes and he sees, right, one of his own being, and knows that, being abused. And so he kills, right, he kills the Egyptian. Why didn't he just go to the Pharaoh and say, "Hey, there's some abuse going on that I think shouldn't be happening"? And, you know, I mean, if one is smart enough, again, you can work around that. And with that, yeah, if people are being abused like that, how good are they going to be to work for you and get that Egyptian punished in another way? Okay, don't know. Was Moses favored by that Pharaoh? Probably not. I don't know. Right? But the daughter, there's still the daughter of the Pharaoh. Okay. And then he goes back and he sees two Hebrews fighting with each other. And what are they saying to him? Okay, should Moses have killed that Egyptian? I mean, it's the beginning of something. But again, I think God was trying to show Moses that's not the way to go. Because look the foundation that you laid. You didn't build a foundation of trust with your own people because you took up their plight. Now they're just afraid of you. You see? Yeah, it's a fine line to learn from on how one does how one has to continuously, regardless, obey the laws of heaven. Also, why did he kill the Egyptian? He was a prince of, right? What are they calling him? And he could have just had that Egyptian arrested. Say, no, you're not doing that. Let's go and have you arrested. Why did he kill him? Right? So, yeah, that too complicated? Is that too hard to understand? Why is that so hard to understand? That you don't just take things into your own hands and then take a life, regardless, right? Because then, what's the message that you're giving to anybody out there? Just saying. That's a interesting on how this is portrayed here. Clearly, that business has come to light, he thought. When Pharaoh heard of the matter, he tried to put Moses to death, but Moses fled from Pharaoh. He went into Midianite territory and sat down beside a well. Now there was a priest of Midian with 7 daughters. They used to come to draw water and fill the troughs to water their father's flock. Some shepherds came and drove them away, but Moses sprang to their help and watered their flock. When they returned to their father Reuel, he said to them, "Why are you back so early today?" "An Egyptian protected us from the shepherds," they said, "and he even drew water for us and watered the flock." "And where is he?" he asked his daughters. "Why did you leave the man there? Ask him to eat with us." Moses agreed to stay on there with the man, who gave him his daughter Zipporah in marriage. She gave birth to a son, whom he named Gershom, because he said, "I am an alien in a foreign land." Oh, interesting. So Moses had to flee. Maybe Pharaoh knew this was a Hebrew child and just waited for, again, an opening to kill Moses rather than investigate. It's an interesting story. It's, again, the whole thing on how this all happened, this, that. Yeah, I don't know what to say more to it. Looks like he ended up, well, anyway. The call of Moses. God remembers Israel. During this long period, the king of Egypt died. The Israelites, groaning in their slavery, cried out for help, and from the depths of their slavery, their cry came up to God. God heard their groaning. God remembered his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God saw the Israelites and took note. That's the end of 2. They're short chapters, aren't they? Let's see. Some longer than others. Again, how's God made? Okay, so I think we just realized that the Hebrews in Egypt, they had, seems like there was some infighting going on, okay? And then at the well, why would, here are the women, and they need water for their animals, and they're being driven away by whom? Sounds like, again, by not the Egyptians, by, okay. All right, so how could Moses, if there were, I don't know how many of them other ones, just jump in and as one man, and because he looked like an Egyptian, and now the other shepherds are like, we better not touch that one. That's going to come back to us, right? Okay, all right. But interesting, right? So what I find, even in today's world, when even if you have belief in the Bible and God and all that, if you're willing to fight amongst yourself, then you're forgetting about God. You're forgetting about God, and God can't be a part of people's lives. So when I read this, I'm going, oh, okay, well, there seemed to be some conflict, not just between the Hebrews and the Egyptians, but among the Hebrews as well. And again, it's like, oh, God suddenly then, he heard their cries, this and that, and then remembers them. Is it not the other way around? Is it maybe that the Hebrews realized our plight's just getting worse and worse, and suddenly remembered whom? Huh? Yes? You really think that God forgot the covenants that he had with Abraham, Jacob, and Joseph? You really think? Huh? You think that's the kind of God he is? Or are we as people more likely that way, that we forget? Yeah, leaderless. We forget. Can't be without someone telling us what to do. You can't do that on our own. Teaching our own family what's important, what should be avoided. We can't do that. But when things go bad enough, then we suddenly remember a greater power. Yeah. So again, how's that depicted in the Bible? It's as if God left. It's as if God has forsaken his people. It's most likely the other way around, until they remembered. Huh? And what does God do? I waited for a long time for you to turn your face back towards me. Right? Yes? Something to remember? Yeah? Okay. All righty. Well, that's all I have to give today. A short video. Oh, I think I said all that I needed to. God's love and blessings always. May he protect you, and I will read to you all again another time.